Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro. It is time to update the old Oscar predictions.
What was the last update? A couple months?
Last update was in June. It's kind of a weird spot to be doing it because Tenet's about to start premiering. The festivals are happening next month. I feel like trailers are going to start popping up too around this time. So we're kind of like pre a bunch of information.
Probably a lot of these movies are not going to come out this year. Every single video, it's like more and more. Oh, this is maybe not going to come out after all. Like we might have a smaller season. But there is also a plus side because we got the festival lineups. That really shows that there are some films trying to come out this year. We're going to take a little peep into Oscar expert's mind. That brilliant genius mind.
How does he do it? We got a new number one. Whoa. New number one. Oh my God. Trial of the Chicago 7. We both agree on this, I think.
It makes sense. I don't see other things being more number one.
We got a batch of images and an article about the film. Meanwhile, Mank, we still have nothing. It's got the screenplay, okay? You can win screenplay pretty easily with this movie.
I mean, for a movie to be relevant, like, it could really touch us. It could be a movie that we reflect on our times for. It seems like a hell of an ensemble movie.
Oh my God, the ensemble. You could fill the entire category probably with just supporting actors.
I think it's taking an Oscar run like very seriously. I think they have like some serious gold in their hands. Maybe Sorkin can get it a director.
Netflix has acquired the rights to the movie. Now they have Trial of Chicago 7 and Mank. Mank sits here and it's the same case as always. It's David Fincher and he's doing black and white stuff. He's doing Hollywood
David
stuff.
Fincher, black and white. Even if it's not like his best, I think it still gets nominated.
If it's messy, I don't know.
I mean, it can't be that messy. It's David Fincher. He's a very clean man.
The next film here, Nomadland, has moved up quite a bit. This is because Nomadland hit literally every festival. Literally every festival.
It's trying to be like the festival darling. Yeah. The festival darling.
And we don't have many of those this year. A lot of these Netflix movies are avoiding the festivals. A lot of other movies just aren't going to take that risk because if you come out of the festivals and you build your hype now, if you want to delay your movie to the next year, you're kind of fucked.
I keep saying it like it looks like it's going to get a 90 on Metacritic. I mean, how is it not going to be a very good movie? The Rider had a very high rating on Metacritic. Put in like a couple of Oscar nominated or Oscar winning actors, that is an Oscar contender.
The cinematography from the images that they keep releasing, I'm just like, they're going to nominate this.
It's like a banana kale oh, that doesn't even sound good.
Ammonite is the other major festival movie. That's why these two are kind of lumped together. They're hitting the festivals in a pair, and they're like the two biggest movies at festivals, featuring major actresses who like have to be nominated.
You're not going to not nominate McDormand. You're not going to not nominate Kate Winslet and Saoirse Ronan. Like, they're all there, folks.
The next two are also a little bit of a lump, because we have Dune and Tenet, the large, hulking blockbusters. Dune is Villeneuve. Does this mean that it's Blade Runner 2049? A lot of people are expecting that it might not be the Oscars thing. My take is that Villeneuve is such a respected director now. Having just one Oscar contender with Arrival isn't going to be enough. Like, he's going to have more.
Well, of course he's going to have
more. It's not just going to be another Blade Runner 2049 after another Blade Runner 2049 where they keep ignoring his work. It's going to happen again. It'll be massive. Massive.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have Blade Runner 2049 to compare it to. It's a pretty similar comparison.
Maybe so, but that movie was almost bound to be divisive and a sequel. The anticipation for Tenet has been growing and growing. We're on the treadmill, and it's a carrot on the treadmill. I don't know why.
I wouldn't run that fast after a carrot, but there are two types of Nolan films. One is where the critics, like, and people just kind of know that, like, it works. It fits together nicely. The other is where we kind of don't know, like, some of us are doubting whether this fits together nicely, like Dark Knight Rises and Interstellar. And so we don't know if Tenet is one of those films.
It'll just be disappointing if this is like a flop. But also, of course, Dune and Tenet are easy to place in like pretty much every technical category, which makes them easier to see a bundle and then to put them into major categories like Best Picture. News of the World is also a movie that you can see getting, some below the line nominations.
Yeah, you have this one pretty high, but we don't know anything about it.
Well, we know Paul Greengrass, Tom Hanks. I mean, the novel people think is really good.
I wonder if it'll come out this year. I know it's supposed to be Christmas, but...
West Side Story, also aiming for that Christmas release. I moved it down a little bit because, I mean, it's a remake. I know it's Spielberg and it's a remake. You balance those out. You still have it in there, I think. There's a chance that West Side Story could be like, eh.
There's a chance it could be like a little messy.
But then there's also a chance that like Spielberg updates it in a way that really like makes sense for the time.
I think most likely this is not going to be one of his best, but enough people will probably like it that it could still get in.
Well, that's how I feel about like a lot of the movies that he's gotten.
Exactly. It's extremely safe.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way.
Hillbilly Elegy is another Netflix contender that's obviously riding off of like the cast, Glenn Close, Amy Adams.
Two people who are like extremely overdue and deserving of Oscars.
And it seems like the kind of movie based on people's responses to the book that will probably be like a big crowd pleaser. It doesn't necessarily need to be a critic's top 10 list movie to get in. You know, Ron Howard has the power to make such a movie.
We have Soul in the top 10. This took a while for
barely even
to happen.
That it was there.
Is this going to be released straight to Disney Plus?
There are rumors of it, and they might do it, and they're probably going to wait to see how Milan does.
I mean, Soul just seems like it's going to be really good. Will it be Inside Out and just get very critically acclaimed, and we'll all be like, yes, of course, nominate it as a 94 Metacritic, but then it doesn't get nominated?
However, let's say Inside Out comes out this particular year, where there may be less competition. Doesn't that give it a leg up?
The only thing I see with Soul is it being like too on the nose and too preachy and trying too hard to be deep. Like, it's going to be deep, but it's also going to try really hard to be deep. And it's going to tell you what's deep about it. I hope it's like a little more interesting than that.
The next one, I feel like not a lot of people are predicting in Best Picture. The United States vs. Billie Holiday is a Lee Daniels film who did Precious. And this seems like it could be his biggest film since then. It is about jazz singer Billie Holiday, a period film. The thing that puts this in for me is I just feel like, even though we haven't really seen Andra Day do much acting, I feel like she's going to get it. And then we're going to have to say, well, Trevante Rhodes could get in there. You know, maybe it's costumes. I don't know. Paramount said when they acquired this film, which by the way, they did after dumping Trial of the Chicago 7 to Netflix, they picked up another movie. And then they said, we're going to put it in awards season. We're going to give it an awards run. We're going to push it. So that says a lot to me. So is this their main horse? And if it is their main horse, why not consider it?
I think it's going to get acting consideration either way.
For sure.
Because even The Butler, the acting was superb in it. You could definitely have a couple actors here finding their way into some categories.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is here too. And this actually wasn't on this Best Picture list because I kind of thought, well, this is just Viola Davis, right? A lot of people are putting this higher on their list, folks. Does it matter what a lot of people think? I think it does matter what a lot of people think. Maybe they know more than me. I learned that Chadwick Boseman's character is very big, and I think he could be nominated as well. So if you have Davis maybe winning, do you have costumes? Do you have screenplay? It's based on an August Wilson play.
It does seem like a movie that could just be like actors and maybe screenplay, but not picture.
I feel like you kind of got to consider, you know, the Netflix movies a little higher because they just are coming out this year. And then we have One Night in Miami, which we discussed as it was announced that it would premiere at Toronto, and then it was picked up by Amazon and slated as an awards contender. Regina King is directing it. It's about a real meeting that happened between Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and a couple other civil rights leaders. The dialogue's very fictionalized. It's actually based on a play, I learned. This could kind of skyrocket and become like, whoa, shit, like Regina King just like directed an Oscar movie, wow. Or it could be like a very good movie that gets like in the 70s on Metacritic range. Maybe it's a little on the nose that you have like giant civil rights leaders like having conversations with each other. Maybe that's just a little on the nose.
It also could just work better in a play than in a film.
The French Dispatch is in a purgatory where we don't know if it's coming out anymore. They removed it off of their 2020 release calendar. Does this mean that they just have no idea what's going on with it? Does this mean that they're hoping to put it in 2021 early?
I doubt
in
that
new window
is coming out this year.
And then look what enters the list.
Good Joe Bell. I mean, I think this is kind of where it should be. I think this movie could be like the Toronto surprise. Whenever I'm like, Good Joe Bell, no one really thinks that movie's going to get nominated. I read the synopsis.
It could be emotionally devastating, and you can't deny the tears. The writers did Brokeback Mountain. The writer also wrote like 2 other Best Picture movies. I mean,
crowd hit.
Minari. A24 has been like sort of quiet about like what they're doing with movies. It's sort of holding on by like a couple strings. It's like, can it get an actor in a supporting category? Can it get screenplay? We really don't know if any of these can happen. I'm also curious like why Minari isn't hitting fall festivals in the way that The Father was.
A24 seems like they don't want to put anything out there yet because they might move every fucking thing to the next year. Next Goal Wins. No one really has this one on their list either. We really don't know if this is going to come out this year. We haven't heard a peep about it. Mm-hmm. But I don't see how this is not an Oscar contender based on the charming story Waititi behind the camera, and Fassbender in the leading role. It's like a charming, quirky, funny, maybe even tear-jerking sports drama underdog story. So it has a lot going for it. I mean, if this one's coming out this year, I expect it to go way up there on people's lists.
And then Judas and the Black Messiah, which just came out with a really exciting trailer that made me be like, oh shit, Daniel Kaluuya. Oh my goodness, Daniel fucking Kaluuya. Because he's ferocious in this trailer.
I can't wait to see him in this movie. Like, I can't wait, when I'm going out to a restaurant and I'm just gonna, like, dig my knife into, like, a nice thick cut filet mignon, even though I don't really eat that much meat.
And even Lakeith Stanfield actually seems like he could get some consideration as well.
Maybe, but definitely Daniel Kaluuya is the centerpiece of this film.
It gives me Widows vibes, and that's maybe partly because Sean Bobbitt shot it. And The Father, which is doing a great job just hitting all those festivals. It's going to Toronto. That movie is definitely insisting on coming out this year, trying to get Hopkins an Oscar, trying to get Olivia Colman nominated, maybe getting there for screenplay.
I think they'll succeed in all those things.
It didn't strike me as a Best Picture sort of movie, but again, like, if the competition narrows and it's just one of the movies that has the strongest buzz, like, maybe it can sneak in. Stillwater, do people have too much optimism in this just because of Spotlight? Or is this, like, truly a big deal of a movie? Again, this is just one that we haven't heard a peep out of.
Focus actually pulled this one off their release calendar, so if I'm going to call it, I'm going to say it's not going to come out this year.
And wow, all the way down the list, you were thinking, where the hell is Da 5 Bloods?
Or you weren't. Or you just weren't because it's like kind of dead in the water, I feel like, for Oscar hype.
We have to acknowledge that this was number 2 last time. That was sort of right after that movie came out. I just don't see it, folks. Like, I don't think that the hype has sustained. I don't think that anything but Delroy Lindo has aged.
It has really bad audience scores, and that's not just because people are racist, okay?
It's a little bit because of that.
To some people, it's just a mess. Like, they cannot get on board with it.
And you compare the audience ratings to Black Klansman, which is obviously a fair comparison. They're just much lower. It's not hitting audiences in the same way. It's not as satisfying as Black Klansman. It's hard to grapple with. Red, White, and Water is another A24 movie that we just haven't heard much about. Jennifer Lawrence is in it. Brian Tyree Henry's in it. I'm kind of feeling like maybe this is going to come out next year just because we haven't heard any information on it. On the Rocks today actually got its first look. So we have some images from the movie. We have confirmation that they're going for an October release on Apple Plus. Bill Murray looks like he could be a contender. Maybe Rashida Jones, maybe the screenplay. They said it was very dialogue heavy, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a screwball comedy. I'm sure it subverts that at times and is more serious, as you'd expect a Sofia Coppola movie to be. They mentioned a lot that it was about the generational divide between her and her father and exploring that.
I think this movie seems slight. Maybe it gets a screenplay, and maybe Bill Murray's in there for a supporting.
And we have French Exit. It did confirm itself a closing night slot at the New York Film Festival. So it's one of few movies that's actually going for the festivals and therefore trying to come out this year. They are going to push Michelle Pfeiffer very hard, I think.
Probably just Michelle Pfeiffer. She seems like she's the push.
Come on. Another A24 movie we haven't heard anything about. You almost can't deny that Joaquin Phoenix really seems like he's going to get nominated, whether it comes out this year or next.
It also is in black and white.
Now, The Humans has also entered the list. We saw this on a couple of people's predictions. We said, what the hell is that? No thanks. Amy Schumer's in it? Beanie Feldstein? Does this seem like an Oscar cast?
But look at the rest of the cast.
Yeah, but then we have Richard Jenkins. We have Stephen Yeun. And what this movie is actually, we found out, it is based on a Tony Award-winning play for Best Play. And this play also won Supporting Actor and Supporting Actress. Richard Jenkins is playing the guy who's playing Supporting Actor. The actress who won Supporting Actress, she's reprising her Tony Award-winning role.
I mean, you're talking more about the performances, but...
Well, that's how the movie could get in.
Yeah. Not as much picture, I feel like.
The Midnight Sky. That's a George Clooney movie. It's based on a novel that people like.
Where he's in Antarctica or something.
Yeah, Felicity Jones is in it.
I smell a mess.
It seems maybe interesting. Alexander Desplat's doing the score.
We can mention the devil all the time. We got a trailer today. It is an insanely stacked cast. Everybody looks great in it. Maybe there's a standout. It looks overall like it'll be a very good movie, but I don't see it trying to get Oscars. I think at this point too, releasing in September is early.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that, and I'm thinking of Ending Things, which, I mean, just looks fantastic from the trailer. Like, my goodness, I'm so excited for that meal. You know, the dog shaking forever is just like, it's genius. But that September slot, you know, when Netflix has like 5 other movies that we have ranked higher on here, like that seems like they know that they have stronger contenders, and that's not their major awards push.
All their films that got nominated from last year were released like October, November, December. Best Director, you have David Fincher for Mank. I kind of agree that Aaron Sorkin's not going to win for Chicago 7. He could win Screenplay, but he wouldn't win Director. Even if the film's not Best Picture worthy, you can give the man an Oscar that he very much deserves. He's taking you back to like, what, the 40s? They like to give people Oscars for that.
Yeah, I mean, is there anyone who's more like owed by the Academy?
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve for Dune. Number 2. I guess so, because if Dune gets nominated, it's like a director movie.
Yeah, and it's freaking Denis Villeneuve.
Aaron Sorkin, though, I think you might want to put him number 2. I think he belongs in the top 3, because he could be very solid and get nominated everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're going to put Trial at number 1, you got to get that director in there. Nolan for Tenet. Like, if Tenet gets into Best Picture, I don't see it getting snubbed for director, although that's happened.
No, he doesn't need that director nomination.
He gets snubbed quite a bit, doesn't he? We have Chloe Zhao in No Man's Land, who enters the top 5.
She's definitely top 5, I think.
When you think about that this movie could get a cinematography nomination, like, a lot of people kind of think that directing is cinematography, so it really helps to have a good-looking movie.
Yeah, it helps to get a cinematography nomination, but also, she has a very unique style, and people are definitely going to see that, and she is the center of this film. It's like her and Frances McDormand. Like, they're walking down the red carpet together, they're holding hands, they're really great friends, they're going to be... I think she's going to be a big star after this film, so I think she's definitely getting director.
And also, her movie Eternals is going to be coming out, like, kind of during the Oscars. So she's going to have like a double hype moment.
She's going to be like a new voice. She has a very distinct style. She's using non-actors. Like, she's doing a lot. I mean, they loved when Ben Zeitlin did it.
Francis Lee for Ammonite has moved up as well, because that might be just kind of like a giant contender all around. You know, is it a movie where you don't have to nominate the director? Perhaps it is. Perhaps it is. But it might be very exquisite.
Yeah, I don't see that getting a director so much. Greengrass for News of the World. I mean, if that movie got nominated, he would direct the shit out of it. You know, it would be nominated because he'd direct the shit out of it, and so he would absolutely get nominated, I think.
Steven Spielberg, West Side Story, doesn't really need an explanation, does it?
No, but he doesn't need director either these days.
Yeah, I mean, the only time he got nominated for director out of his 4 past picture nominees was Lincoln.
But the fact that this is a musical, that could be a big deal. He could be showing off a little bit.
It's going to be less dry, more colorful, and bubbly than... I mean, what if it's like the BFG and it's like, oh shit.
Oh no. At this point, we're kind of getting to like, oh, it depends if the movie's good. So there's not much to say about the rest of these, but could see in there Lee Daniels, Regina King. Sure, why not? I guess Wes Anderson for French Dispatch. Could there be a totally bizarro nomination for Spike Lee?
No, never. He's done. He's gonzo. Out. Goodbye. Best Actor. I'm not budging, folks. I'm not budging. Anthony Hopkins is going to blow your socks off. Now, I know a lot of people have seen both films and they still think Delroy Lindo's number 1. But Da 5 Bloods is tanking everywhere else. It's tanking in Best Picture and every other category. They keep hitting the festivals. They're doing all the moves that they need to do. That movie's going to be more fresh in people's minds.
Yeah, I could see it being easier to convince people that Hopkins needs a second Oscar than that Delroy Lindo is Oscar worthy in The Five Bloods.
Well, I think a lot of people feel that he is Oscar worthy.
Of course they do.
It's just that...
And he is good enough to win an Oscar.
I just think that if you are very mixed on the film, it's going to be hard to vote for his win.
Yeah, I think he could still win. I think it's going to be 1 and 2 the whole way. Like,
yeah,
they're just going to be riding the campaign trail together.
I wonder if that's going to be a close race. Gary Oldman is just going to happen as long as Mank's in. How does that not? How does that not?
What if he just doesn't have much of a personality in it?
You're telling me that Mank gets nominated and Gary Oldman does it? You can't tell me that.
I don't know.
You cannot tell me that.
I don't know what he's doing in it, okay?
Well, you'll find out. He's being Gary Oldman. He's always very eccentric.
But, like, we know what Daniel Kaluuya is doing in Judas and the Black Messiah.
Because we know what he's doing. Now we know what he's doing.
And my God, he looks ferocious.
The raspy voice. He's giving lots of speeches.
I mean, the trailer alone like gets him a nomination.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't too high on here.
I would vote for him just based on the trailer.
I watched the trailer and I was like, how do we not nominate him? How?
His his fucking skill that he's just proving like time and time again that he can just transform himself. He has some serious acting prowess.
Now, he does seem to be not the protagonist. Let's give some examples like Daniel Day-Lewis in Kings of New York, Steve Carell in Foxcatcher, Forrest Whitaker, Last King of Scotland, all examples of people who weren't the protagonist, but were still in lead. That's what I think is going to happen here. Joaquin Phoenix, come on, come on. So Joaquin Phoenix is playing someone who is dealing with bipolar disorder in the grips of a manic episode. You know who is nominated for doing that? Bradley Cooper. How can you be a great actor, have bipolar, and not get nominated? Especially with the hype that he's built right now.
Can't really deny that. Tom Hanks in News of the World. I mean, he's slowly crawling his way back up into Oscar conversations where he just kept like repeatedly getting snubbed. It was disgusting that he got snubbed for Captain Phillips.
That's still a really, really sad snub. Yeah. Mark Wahlberg in Good Joe Bell. This is the movie's gateway.
You better believe it.
This is the movie's gateway.
Better believe it.
We got Green Book vibes buzzing on this movie. That it just comes out of nowhere.
If we're wrong about it, we look pretty bad. I have a little more confidence probably than you do. I mean, I think he's going to be doing a lot. Like I said, he's going to be crying. He's going to be grieving the whole movie. And you're going to be on his side. You're going to be rooting for him.
But what if it's like a Ben is back? It just doesn't go anywhere.
Movie?
It just doesn't go anywhere. Beautiful Boy. Also, you know, that didn't go anywhere with the acting.
I don't see that.
Michael Fassbender in Next Goal Wins. I mean, I just don't see how he can be a blonde-haired soccer coach yelling and screaming at his teammates to kick the ball and not get nominated for that. Like, if Next Goal Wins is in, then of course you have Michael Fassbender in. We don't know what Matt Damon's doing in Stillwater, but could it be like his greatest acting feat? I think there's potential there for that to be the case. We owe you an explanation on Supernova because we had Stanley Tucci in the top 5 last time because I said, oh my God, he has dementia, and it is a movie where he's with Colin Firth and they're a gay couple. The problem here is that I looked on Wikipedia and it said it's premiering at some random film festival in September. So I'm like, wait a minute.
It might be nothing.
Is it literally
might not even get an
nothing?
Oscar campaign? I mean, I just found this film not because people were talking about Oscar campaigns, but it was just a film I stumbled upon and I said,
You know, Mary Magdalene, it was like, oh shit, like Joaquin Phoenix and Rooney Mara in this movie. Like, Garth Davis just did Lion. Aren't we going to hear about this? And then it just like quietly kind of comes out and then it's just like meh. Like, it's weird, but that happens sometimes. And that might be Supernova. We might have jumped the gun on that last time. I have Eli Goree in One Night in Miami, who's playing Muhammad Ali, which I'm assuming is the lead based on all the plot descriptions.
He's gonna have a hard time getting nominated for lead too.
Yeah.
If it's like an ensemble film.
Ben Foster in Harry Half's, like, I just feel like that's going to come out next year. Like, we don't know what that is yet. And Tom Holland in Cherry. I think The Devil All the Time is not his vehicle to a nomination here because that's such an ensemble piece. But Cherry still, you know, there's a glimmer of hope for you Tom Holland stands out there to see your boy nominated. It's probably not going to happen. Don't get your hopes up too high. Andrew Garfield, The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
I just don't think Eyes of Tammy Faye is going to come out this year.
Yeah, that movie seems very quiet.
I feel like we might have seen it come up in the festivals, but it's been very quiet.
In actress, we have booted Frances McDormand from the #1 slot. It's hard to see her winning a 3rd Oscar. You also have 2 other Oscar winners vying for this win who probably deserve another Oscar. Viola Davis in Ma Rainey.
She's gaining weight for it, and she's putting on a fat suit. It seems like she will for sure be nominated at this point. This movie has a lot of hype, even for picture. That's a great sign.
She's also going to be singing, and it might be like one of her greatest transformations that we've seen from her.
I think it's going to be the biggest transformation for her. I mean, she may very well sing her way to an Oscar here. I feel like she's #1 just because McDormand, 3rd Oscar, that's kind of a lot.
It would also be really satisfying to see her win in a lead role. We often see wins for black actresses in supporting roles.
Yeah, this would break the trend where last decade we didn't see a black actor winning in a leading role.
One of the festival directors for, I think, Toronto said that Kate Winslet gives the best performance of her career by far. Kate Winslet is giving her best performance. It might be, but perhaps she is a winning contender and she's an obvious nomination.
McDormand, we already talked about that. Andra Day in the US versus Billie Holiday.
I'm getting the impression that people are saying, like, just watch out for her. Just, like, watch out for when this movie comes out. You're going to see. You're going to see. She's going to impress. I mean, Lee Daniels is a hell of an actress director. You know, Monique and Gabrielle Sidibe in Precious, like, they probably weren't people who you'd be like, oh yeah, they're gonna get nominated for that movie. This could be like a hell of a performance. It's a biopic, another person playing a singer.
Michelle Pfeiffer wants to win her first Oscar for The French Exit.
And a lot of people
she's going to get a really big push in a campaign. A lot of people are thinking she might win. This could be her year. But how can you argue with Viola Davis transforming and playing a singer? Jennifer Hudson in Respect. We got like the third person here playing a singer. Are there too many singers in the category? I don't know. I mean, this could be more of a Beatty, not so critically acclaimed film. So I would definitely keep her below the other two actresses.
I don't know if you can have too many singers in a lead acting category.
Halle Berry in Bruise looks like she's going to do a lot. I mean, she's directing the film because she wants to sink her teeth into a meaty role. She's going to be in the editing room looking at it and saying, oh, I like, cut to a close-up here. Cut to a close-up. This is my Oscar moment here.
Boxing films and performances in boxing films are mega Oscar bait. Carey Mulligan in Promising Young Woman, I still think that she can like kind of pull through. Get at least a Golden Globe nomination for this. This category is looking very, very competitive, actually.
Depends again when Promising Young Woman decides to come out.
Sophia Loren is in a Netflix film called The Life Ahead. I slept on this one a little bit, but it is now here. She's an aging Holocaust survivor who forges a bond with a young immigrant. She was the first actor to win an Oscar for a foreign language film. She's kind of a legend. So,
and she also won an honorary Oscar.
Yeah, so this could be like a very interesting comeback. Jennifer Lawrence, this could definitely be a comeback for her and she could get nominated for it. It's just like, I'm getting more and more weary of it actually coming out this year. Rashida Jones on The Rocks, have a feeling that this will be like her best performance to date. Excited to see her in it, but
it's not that hard.
Supporting actress. We still
have both the hillbilly LG people in supporting.
Let's dive into that a little bit, shall we? According to the book and people who have read the book, which does not include me, Amy Adams is hella supporting. In fact, probably more so than Glenn Close. That's what people are saying. And yet, everyone's saying that she could get nominated in lead. This means that the movie would have to be kind of drastically altering like who's prominent in it. Or
which is not something that screenplays haven't done in the past.
Or it's just category fraud and she doesn't have that much screen time and therefore maybe she's not even getting nominated in this crowded Best Actress race. Saoirse Ronan and Ammonite.
This top three is like the three queens of being overdue to win an Oscar. Olivia Colman we talked about. Amanda Seyfried. Some people think she's going to be like a big deal in Mank and they're telling you to watch out. So we're watching out. I mean, that makes sense. I could see her breaking through.
Yeah, she's playing like an actress from that era. So she's going to have to, you know, transform a little bit.
We have the grandma in Minari seeming to take a similar route to the grandma in The Farewell, where
we don't like that.
Minari might not get like that much hype. And so even though she's very good in it, she's
so fucking worthy of a nomination. It's disgusting. I'm just sorry to say that this might not really happen.
Helena Zangel's playing the little girl in News of the World. She might be more of a lead, but because she's small, they'll put her in supporting.
I think Tom Hanks is still like the lead. But yeah, she could have a very big role.
I don't think they're gonna do it, but sure, she's in here.
I do think that she could be like a Haley Steinfeld in True Grit.
Those are pretty rare, though.
Jane Houdyshell in The Humans. This actress is reprising her Tony Award-winning role in this movie. I mean, she's literally just going to be giving the same performance that won her a Tony. And can it get her an Oscar nomination?
Again, don't know if it's coming out this year. Connie Britton for Good Joe Bell. She should probably be higher. If Good Joe Bell's like pushing to come out this year. And Mark Wahlberg is great. She'd get nominated alongside. We don't really know what she's doing in it, though. But she's going to play a grieving mother. So she will have meat. But we don't know how much meat she will have.
Ariana DeBose is playing the role that won Rita Moreno an Oscar for the original. You know, maybe that puts her higher.
I mean, that would put her higher, wouldn't it?
It kind of would, but I'm not sure. Abigail Breslin Stillwater.
A daughter that wants to escape from a lifetime prison sentence that she's possibly facing.
She actually could be more of like a borderline lead in this. Natasha Lyonne in The U.S. vs. Billie Holiday, known for Orange is the New Black. If you look at like her on set for this, she's wearing like big fur coats and she might be very like sassy and fun. The rest of this we'll display it, but we don't need to go into all of them. Supporting actor, Sacha Baron Cohen, The Trial of Chicago 7. I put him at number 1 because if we're gonna get like 2 actors nominated in supporting for this movie, then isn't there a pretty good chance one of them could win? I think there's a pretty good chance. And he seems, from the plot descriptions, to be, you know, one of the biggest characters in the movie, maybe the biggest.
And he's probably going to be doing a voice which really helps you. I mean, when you looked at Spotlight, that was an ensemble film. They didn't know who to nominate. No one was getting nominated for a while, and then people were like, no, Ruffalo. And the reason it was Ruffalo and not Keaton is because Ruffalo was doing a little thing. You just had a little thing to do. Sacha Baron Cohen's going to give himself a couple little things to do. Strathairn seems like he could maybe win for Nomadland if he gets enough screen time in it.
Oh, I think he will have enough screen time. The fact that he's the only other, trained actor in there.
And he'd be a good person to give an Oscar to.
Chadwick Boseman in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Boseman actually has a really immediate role in this. And it may be like a borderline lead performance.
Jeremy Strong, people are obsessing about because he apparently went method. He tried to get Aaron Sorkin to let him be pepper sprayed in the face. But again, I have no idea who's more and who's less.
It actually seems like he's in a lot of the images that they released.
Yeah.
Him, Sacha Baron Cohen, and Eddie Redmayne actually seem like they have very prominent roles.
I mean, they're all playing hippies. They're all playing these, kind of dazed out, but, passionate and opinionated hippies.
And, of course, Jeremy Strong has a lot of hype built off of Succession right now, so people are kind of looking for him. Tom Pelphrey in Mank? Now, why is this not Tom Burke in Mank? Maybe Tom Burke's Orson Welles performance is more of a cameo. Tom Pelphrey is actually playing Joseph Mankiewicz, who you may know as the 4-time Academy Award winner who directed All About Eve. And Yahya Abdel-Mateen II in Trial of Chicago 7, another rising star. Judging from the images and some of the plot descriptions, I think he might be more prominent in the court scenes and perhaps not so much outside of that.
He could have some really good moments though. Court scenes.
Lakeith Stanfield, Judas and the Black Messiah. I think that I could see him getting in for this for sure. Even just him and Kaluuya, and that's it. I don't know.
Maybe. He's just more of a quiet actor,
Yeah, but he also could be campaign and supporting when, in fact, his performance is pretty much a lead. Stephen Yeun and Minari just moved down for me. Strangely enough, a lot of people actually are predicting him in lead, which is absolutely ridiculous in my mind, because if he's lead, he has less screen time than any lead performance I can think of. That would just be absurd. Less than the grandmother, less than the little boy. He's definitely supporting, and I'm just not sure that Minari will be much of a player at the Oscars. Trevante Rhodes in the United States versus Billie Holiday. He seems to be one of the biggest actors in this movie. He might have a very large role and could be nominated alongside Andra Day if the film's a really, really big contender.
We're excited to see what he does after his amazing performance in Moonlight.
And Richard Jenkins for The Humans. I watched some clips of The Humans being performed, and I was watching the actor on stage who is not Richard Jenkins, and I was just imagining them being Richard Jenkins, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is juicy. Yeah. I can totally see this.
Yeah, if this movie comes out this year, Richard Jenkins is going to be a contender, I think. Bill Murray and On the Rocks, this makes sense. He might be a lead, but if On the Rocks can get anything, it could be a supporting for Bill Murray. Lucas Hedges in The French Exit. I don't see him getting a nomination alongside Michelle Pfeiffer because it might be more of her vehicle, but
it might be a movie with very few actors. So, I think he's going to have a lot of screen time. And, Lucas Hedges honestly can't help but to be good.
I think he'll be good, but it doesn't seem like they would make any room for him. He would be like, hey guys, can I get in here? Can I get in for the group photo? But he's too in the back. He can't giraffe neck his head up behind other actors. The last mentionable person I feel is Idris Elba in Concrete Cowboy.
What is Concrete Cowboy, and why did it end up making the TIFF lineup? Is something there? Is Idris Elba there? Let's find out. Original screenplay, Trial of the Chicago 7, number 1. There's nothing about this that is surprising.
You got Mank, Ammonite, Tenet, Soul, all movies that could get nominated for Best Picture. And then below this are not really films that we are as confident in. So Soul, I think, will get a nomination, even if it doesn't get nominated for Best Picture. I could see that. Oh, damn, you're really taking Palm Springs down there.
I just feel like Palm Springs is viewed as a fun, light movie for the summer. It's not going to last long enough to get any major Oscar hype, unfortunately.
Yeah, for the most part, these are obvious based on what you put in Best Picture. So you can take a gander, but we're not going to stay here too long.
Adapted screenplay, sort of a similar deal. Again, we can see Nomadland winning here, which of course could be the gateway to winning Best Picture. News of the World and Hillbilly Elegy really seem like, they have really solid source materials. And Dune could be viewed as the kind of movie that doesn't get nominated for screenplay. But of course, that Frank Herbert novel is so legendary. I feel like it actually would get in. Ma Rainey made my cut at number 5 because it's that August Wilson adaptation, and also I think it is a dark horse Best Picture contender.
One Night in Miami you can definitely see in here just because it's going to be a talkie movie also adapted from a play.
I think The Father does have a chance, just really depending on the competition, and then The Humans, sort of similar to The Father, has the playwright directing the adaptation.
I mean, a lot of these films in this category used to be plays.
Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking of ending things. Even though we got that great trailer, we're still not confident in it. I just don't think it's a contender. And you were saying on the last category, where's Toni Collette? Everybody's predicting Toni Collette. I'm sorry. I just think that it's not going to be.
I feel like it's goofy, and she's not playing like a real person. She's playing like one of those kind of fake, like puppety people. Also, you don't have West Side Story very high, and I kind of agree with that because if it's a musical, they don't really get nominated for screenplay too often.
Les Miserables is a good example of a movie that got nominated in a lot of categories, but no screenplay. Cinematography.
Dune at number 1.
I mean, Dune's going to be massive. And
what
we
about
know that his movies are just so good looking. It's Greg Fraser.
I mean, maybe Nomadland is like...
Nomadland is not being done by a accomplished cinematographer. They actually really just worked with Chloe Zhao in her last film mostly. And also Francis Lee's first film, God's Own Country.
Probably like a first nomination thing.
But they just released a still from this movie, like another one. And oh my God, is this getting nominated for cinematography? I had to move this up a couple slots just when just seeing that image.
Mank is black and white. You don't need to say any more. That could win, I guess. Tenet, oddly enough, Interstellar, not nominated for cinematography.
Was odd.
Really freaking odd because I mean, you look at that movie, it's amazing looking. Whatever you thought about it, News of the World should be at 5.
It's the cinematographer who did The Martian, who has never been nominated.
So what? He's very good.
But every time I do that, then I look at the trailer for The French Dispatch and I go, oh geez, this is a really good looking movie right here.
Yeah, I mean, The French Dispatch is doing a lot.
And it has black and white.
I mean, are Wes Anderson's films going to become like, no matter if they get nominated for picture, they just get cinematography every time?
Like for the rest of his life?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, score, I think, is already, like, that's just
like done. How Roger Deakins gets nominated every time for whatever movie he's doing.
Yeah. I think West Side Story can also get in. Ammonite, I'm really curious to see a trailer for Ammonite.
Trial of Chicago 7's not cinematography.
Well, Trial of Chicago 7 is actually Phaedon Papamichael.
What did he do?
Who did Nebraska and Ford v. Ferrari. The trailer could surprise me.
I don't think so, though. I don't think you're getting that.
Editing. And Aaron Sorkin's script lends itself to, like, snappy editing. The protest scenes, lots of big crowds equals editing, doesn't it?
Multiple storylines threaded throughout one event. That's editing.
Tenet, actually, sort of interesting. Jennifer Lame, who I'm very excited to see this. Because she did Marriage Story, Manchester by the Sea, Hereditary, like, amazing. Christopher Nolan and Jennifer Lame were, like, joking that this is, like, the most difficult movie to edit, like, ever made.
She could lend a lot to this film, and apparently he hired her for her ability to, you know, communicate story with acting and, like, get those quieter moments, despite never really doing a blockbuster.
I feel like this makes sense. News of the World, Greengrass, you know, that Greengrass and editing go together like a glass and wine. Score is actually looking kind of competitive and interesting. You know, Tenet, that trailer music sounds fantastic. Mank, freaking Trent, and Atticus Ross, they're also doing Soul. Dune is Hans freaking Zimmer, and Denis Villeneuve's scores have just been so juicy. The French Dispatch, Alexander Desplat, I can't wait to hear another, like, toy ensemble. That makes enough sense to me. And Ammonite, Dustin O'Halloran and Hoshka return. They did Lion. That was a beautiful score. I hope we get some of that more soft, luscious instrumentation that they brought to that. News of the World is James Newton Howard, and I can see it having like a big, like, Western kind of interesting score. You get the sense that it's the kind of movie where they're traveling on horses across landscapes. They're going to have to play some music. Nomadland's actually being done by Ludovico Einaudi, whose work often is put into films like Mommy, but who doesn't really compose that much. Could definitely be like another technical nomination for Nomadland.
It's interesting that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are doing the score for Soul. Another reason why I think it seems like it could be more like one of the more tasteful Pixar films that actually could get nominated for Best Picture.
Da 5 Bloods, I actually think this is like one of the categories that it's not absolutely dead in. Like
it's pretty dead because the score, in my opinion, was bad.
I agree that it wasn't a good score, But some people really still love the score, so I don't know.
Who loves it?
I'm not kidding, it's a thing. Production design. I have Dune winning. It's the biggest, it's the grandest. It is a sci-fi fantasy thing.
Do sci-fi fantasy things win production design?
Yeah, like Lord of the Rings, Mad Max.
I mean, obviously...
Black Panther.
Yeah, I mean, French Dispatch makes a lot of sense, obviously. I think West Side Story, sure, because it's going to be people hopping around fire exits and stuff. I don't know if that's production design or not. It's enough. Mank is black and white. It's in the 30s. That's done.
Tenet? Absolutely. They built some massive fucking sets for this thing.
Yeah, I mean, it depends how involved this world is, how different it is from our own. I mean, Inception's production design was crazy because it made a new world for us to discover. You have Mulan on here.
Yeah, I mean, Mulan could be like a costume production design thing, you know. Costume design, we'll keep The French Dispatch at number 1, even though we don't know if it's coming out. West Side Story, musical, therefore costumes.
I mean, you have a lot of like the Best Picture movies in here, but costumes you don't need a Best Picture nomination, so like maybe The Prom.
Birds of Prey could score a nomination here. And Ma Rainey actually may, boast some big costumes on Viola Davis.
Dune looks like it has strange costumes, but definitely enough to like give that kind of an easy nomination.
Makeup, I have Dune at number 1, but I'm not really sure. Like, does Dune have creatures? Does Dune have like, I'm not really sure what it has. Birds of Prey, a la Suicide Squad's Oscar win for makeup. And Hillbilly Elegy, like, do the actors have makeup? I do not know. Some people say, is Emma getting like production design and costumes and makeup and stuff? And the answer is not as long as there's competition. Sound, Tenet, because it's just like count which Nolan films have won sound. The Dark Knight, Inception, Dunkirk. So there you go. Why wouldn't I put that at number 1? Obviously, Dune is like a big deal too.
Because Denis Villeneuve's films have like amazing sound. Interesting, No Time to Die, of the James Bond film that I guess it's going to come out. I like News of the World and Soul there. That definitely makes sense. We don't know what Mank is doing with the sound. The Five Bloods is gone. News of the World, I don't know how many guns there are in that movie, but that's what matters. Like, how many guns are there in News of the World? Is there a shootout?
And visual effects, I mean, this category's actually gotten pretty tricky because Dune is the only one here that really is has a shot at winning, to be honest. I thought Tenet maybe had a shot at winning, but just knowing that they barely used visual effects, like, no, it's not going to win. And even though Wonder Woman didn't get nominated, I was never predicting Wonder Woman to be nominated. I had to put on Wonder Woman 1984 because this competition is weak because a lot of the blockbusters are moving to next year.
Yeah.
Mulan, like, I don't even know how much visual effects that has. But that movie cost a lot of freaking money, so it went somewhere, okay? It went somewhere. Is there going to be a mega rhino at the end? Like, I don't know what they're doing with it. I don't know.
Even if there was a mega rhino, like, I just don't know why that would give it a nomination. What is The Midnight Sky? What is that?
That's the George Clooney movie.
Oh, yeah.
It actually probably does have a little
this
bit
has
of
like
visual
no
effects.
competition. What if they just decide that Soul is worthy of visual effects? And
that actually is like a little bit possible, but they didn't even do it with WALL-E, so
I don't think they would do it.
They're weird about that.
We don't have a space film this year. Where is the space film? Is Dune the
they
space
might go
film?
to they probably go to space a little bit in Dune. Might travel between planets. I don't know anything about Dune, but they might travel between planets. Animated feature. This actually may still be an interesting race. I mean, obviously it's over because Soul's winning, but Over the Moon actually looks very good from Netflix. You watch it and you're like, oh, yes, yeah, absolutely, yes. Onward will hopefully be nominated. It's very good. Big tearjerker. It's hard to watch that movie and not have your emotions tickled, so why would they not nominate it? Aya and the Witch is the first ever Studio Ghibli 3D computer animated film. It looks a little strange from the images, but
yeah, definitely.
It's
definitely
still
strange, but you gotta acknowledge that it could be a good movie.
It's hard to say any animated films are coming out, but Wish Dragon seems like it could be
a
like
Disney
a
film?
good one. The plot synopsis for Wish Dragon is a tale of discovering the greatest wish of all. I can't wait to figure out what wish could be the greatest.
For maybe it's family. You know, it's probably not. It's probably not like money or some material.
It's probably
thing.
a
The greatest
dragon.
wish of all is probably for something that's immaterial.
And the final category, not an Oscar category, but still fun and a must predict. SAG Ensemble. The Trial of Chicago 7 is actually winning. I'm calling it now. Like, it's actually happening.
Damn.
We don't need to consider other things.
Where's Ammonite?
Ammonite has 2 people.
Literally 2 people?
Pretty much 2 people. There might be like a little bit of a Fiona Shaw in there, actually. I think Hillbilly Elegy actually seems like pretty strong here. West Side Story, like, it has mega cast. And The French Dispatch also has a mega cast. The Devil All the Time actually has a really good cast, and I wonder if that can sort of like mudbound its way in there. The Prom's a musical. It just kind of puts it in there. It just kind of does, right? And Nicole Kidman, Meryl Streep.
West Side Story and Mank are pretty obvious. Many good performances to see.
And this concludes our predictions for August. Next time you see us will probably be late September after the festivals happen. We're going to have lots of premieres, lots of trailers. In fact, Tenet will probably have been seen. So lots going to change. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Are you coming out this year?